everybody. This is Dr. Lori Shemek.
And I'm Omar Cumberbatch. You're listening to This Podcast Burns Fat. Hey, Lori, how are you?
Hey, Omar. Doing wonderful. Yeah. Just looking forward to a new week ahead and to our guest we have today.
Yes. Well. Yeah, no, he was really, really good. So good that you already bought something from him. I'm in the process of grabbing it because, it was a really great show. His name is Craig Smith, and I thought he was really phenomenal, bringing the attention to hydrogen and just the many things about it that I was unaware of. You were a lot more familiar with it than I was, so that was pretty cool. It enlightened me to that extent.
That's great. Yeah, I know it's molecular hydrogen, which is like the smallest and lightest molecule known. Right. And so he was speaking about hydrogen-rich water. And when we drink it, it has all these incredible benefits. You know, it's hydrogen. This molecular hydrogen is considered an antioxidant, and it's a potent anti-inflammatory. There's a lot of healing that can happen. Potentially, you know, it just mitigates a lot of chronic inflammation and other issues. So when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. It's one of the smallest molecules, so it can get right into the cell, including the mitochondria, and it just penetrates well. And it's been shown in studies to reduce chronic inflammation, regulate hormones, promote gut health, increase cognitive ability, improve energy. I mean, it's really like a wish list, isn't it?
Yeah. And very easy to actually implement once, you get familiar with the actual machine that he makes reference to. And it's just basically just drinking water. Just like
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wonderful it's really something important to know about, I think. So yeah, I think Craig said it has over 1,700 peer-reviewed scientific studies. So this is fantastic,
Yeah, no, definitely excited to share this new topic with the audience. So let's jump into it.
Okay.
Hey, Craig, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hey, thank you so much, Omar. I'm fantastic.
That's great. It's so happy you're here today. We all want to learn about molecular hydrogen, and a lot of people may not have heard about it, but it has a really powerful impact on the body, of which I know you're going to enlighten me on and our listeners. And so if you could just maybe give us a little bit of your background story, it would be a really important part of what you're going to essentially teach us today.
I appreciate that, Lori. It's exciting. It brings a kind of a sense of wonder, at least for me, kind of backing up, if we could, like you mentioned, when I was only 25 years old, and I'm just a bit older now, but when I was 25,
join the crowd.
Yeah. Boy, time is something else, isn't it?
Really goes fast the older you get.
No kidding. And when I was 25, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh, boy.
And, I know people have it so much worse. I'm just kind of talking about my little world at that time of being 25. I felt young, on top of the world, invincible. But at 25, to hear that I had this diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis, and I just thought, that's for old people, right? If I can just be direct, it did not compute. It did not make sense.
Did you go in? Were you having pain everywhere?
It happened really suddenly. It was a really dramatic onset, wherein with a matter of 2 to 3 days, all of a sudden, I couldn't close my fingers, and I couldn't make a fist. And so obviously it was scary, traumatic. I was like, what's happening? Why can't I all of a sudden close my hands? And got into a couple of specialists, started doing some research, and they wanted to put me on some really powerful, scary drugs for it. And it really set me on a path to see if I could discover something a little more natural and better and less toxic for my body. And through losing a little bit of weight, that helped, drinking a lot of water, and just trying to eat a little bit better, and trying a medication or two within about 5 to 6 years. All of a sudden, I just went into remission.
Wow.
Except for just the way my joints felt in general, if that makes sense. So still very young. Here I'm in my early 30s. I was so grateful that this diagnosis had gone into remission. And yet, I like to be active and I'd like to lift weights. That's just kind of one of my outs. I just love to, with some dumbbells and this and that. But so my joints were just aching all the time. And they have since I was in my 30s. Mm-hmm. I'm now in my early 50s. And every night I was doing something your listeners probably say, please, Craig, do not do that. But I was every single day I was taking ibuprofen for years.
Yeah.
200 to 800, sometimes up to 3 times a day. Yeah. And it was bad news. And I know it. And I know it was harmful, way worse than probably anything else I was ingesting. And along that wellness journey, I got into the health industry for over 22 years. Myself helped with around 109 different products coming to market in marketing and operations. And this quest, brought me to vitamins, to minerals, to nitric oxide, to Korean red ginseng, to the element germanium, looking for natural solutions to health, because there just had to be something better than the synthesized pills. And I'm not knocking medication. There's a place, but it really is all primarily synthesized through my research over the last 22 years from nature. It seems like really nature has the solutions and the body does the miracle. All it needs is the proper raw materials. And I believe in my journey along this way that I've found one of the best raw materials in the universe. And I know that's a big claim. And I'm so excited about it that when I found this raw material and started bringing it into my daily life in a really simple way, I have not taken a single ibuprofen since.
Wow.
In months,
Greg, that's amazing.
Months. Yeah. And, I kind of say that with the reverence because I know all of your listeners have their own journey, what they're dealing with. For me, it was this crazy joint pain and discomfort, but to not be on something that I felt like was, kind of my only solution after so long is life-changing.
So it's really, go ahead.
No, it's a great story. Definitely a great origin story. And it's one of the things that was interesting when I was preparing for this show. It's like, how did you stumble upon hydrogen as being that thing? And like you were mentioning, how you were able to introduce it into your life in a simple way. That was one of the questions that I definitely popped out, because this is not something that I would figure the average person stumbles upon in their day-to-day thing. You had obviously an inside track, right?
Right. It's a good point, Omar. I mean, how do you come along and this is something that's been known. Hydrogen's been known for so long in Japan. It's in their hospitals. It's in their clinics. It's even in their ambulances. I always think of oxygen. They think hydrogen, and it's accessible. And, I know we have a different medical system here. Again, I'm not going to go knock anything. I appreciate our medical system, especially emergency care.
Oh, yeah.
when you're dealing with one of your worst days of your life and there's somebody there to help mend a broken bone or do various
appendicitis
things.
or something.
Appendicitis exactly. It's all there. I think we're all trying to come together. But I just believe if we can find more natural ways, the body just does better and has this longevity. And through my travels, it was really, really interesting. I found myself as a young man in Lourdes, France. And if you've been, it's a little town about 500 miles south of Paris. And
it's wonderful.
You'll see why I mention this in a minute, but it blew my mind because back in 1858 there was supposedly an appearance by the Virgin Mary to a young lady named Bernadette, and water was coming out of the earth and out of in these grottos and these places, and it's been there, at least discovered, since 1858. And since 1858, thousands, tens of thousands, millions of people have gone to Lourdes, France to drink the water and exclaim about these healing crises, these healing events that are happening. And I just so happen to have found myself in France as a young man, as a service missionary there. And it was, I mean, I got in line. I wanted to understand what all of these people were doing with this water. And you circle back now, literally 30 years later, coming back to your question, Omar, how do you stumble upon? A good friend of mine who's known my condition, who's known what I've dealt with, told me that he was part of a company that was bringing a device and had brought a device, and the one he was bringing was the newer model, to the United States and to the world as an exclusive distributor. And I said, well, what's the name of this thing? What is it? And he said, it's called the Lourdes Hydrofix. And I said, you mean like Lourdes, France?
Like Lourdes water fix.
Right. And I said, I mean, the odds that I was there in my late teens, early 20s, and now to circle back 30 years later and to be associated with the machine, he says, it's all about hydrogen, Craig. It's all about molecular hydrogen. That's what's going on in Lourdes, France. The Japanese engineers that figured this out went there, studied the water, and have found healing springs around the world having high concentrations of molecular hydrogen.
Was there any other mineral salt in there as well?
Not that I'm aware of. The key that these researchers and engineers in Japan figured was get the body the cleanest, purest hydrogen, H2, molecular hydrogen, into the human body, and it will work miracles. In fact, the lead engineer daughter had ALS when she was 5 years old and was told that, he was told that she was going to die. And my understanding is she's now 12 years old.
Oh my goodness. That's something.
And wow.
That is truly, a phenomenal origin just to begin with, and that the Japanese took it a step further. And so for our listeners, what is the difference between molecular hydrogen water and regular water?
That's a great question. What I learned in my, we know, H2O, kind of a class, we've known it since we were little kids, right? Since 8th grade science, that, hydrogen, if you go back and look at the periodic table, right, it's the very first element listed. I invite your listeners to Google it, and go check that periodic table out, because it's the lightest, it's the smallest molecule, and it is incredible. And it's tasteless, it's odorless, it's colorless. And because it is so small, researchers have found out in over 1,800 studies on 170 different disease models that when you take the hydrogen element and break it from oxygen through a process called electrolysis, and that's what they figured out how to do, that you can take the hydrogen, which is so small that it can go anywhere in the body and do its thing. Meaning, it has become, in what I've understood through all of my research, that it is perhaps the most powerful healing substance on earth, because what it does from an antioxidant perspective and the way it attacks oxidation, it can go where no other, we've heard of antioxidants for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Blueberries, this and that. This, with hydrogen, H2, it can go where no blueberry has ever gone before.
Is that because it is the smallest molecule known to man?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. And can penetrate the cell.
Yeah. And when it's bonded to itself, when you've separated it from oxygen, it's got this really light bond, meaning as an antioxidant, to go scavenge for these free radicals that we've all heard about through every way under the sun. We get exposed to this through pollution, through environmental toxins, through our water, through foods, all of a sudden you've got this, it almost seems like a heat-seeking missile, but I like to think of it more like a disease-seeking missile. It goes in and bonds itself with these free radicals because this bond is so light with itself. It's like maybe a singles party, and it can go in and it can grab on to any other single there. Because, see, water's already bonded with something, oxygen. And so it's like a couple sitting over at the corner in the table. It doesn't go after them. They're bonded. This can go after and scavenge all of the free radicals. And because it's so powerful, because other antioxidants, they lose their free electron when they bond something, but hydrogen is so small and light, Lori, that it simply evaporates once the electron has been donated. And in that way, it's found to be like a miracle molecule. It fights diseases and causes zero negative side effects. You can't overdose on it, anything.
And that's important. And I love that it's like a missile, it goes straight for what is ailing you in your body. And that includes inflammation. And
absolutely.
It's just amazing, the power of it. But there is, I guess, a lot of people don't know about it. They do in Asia, in Japan, but not so much here in the United States.
No,
of course.
Yeah, of course. Right. And I think, I'm not trying to get all conspiracy theory or anything, but we know there's reasons why
big pharma.
Yeah, that certain things aren't coming to light and are maybe, dismissed. But when you've got a super selective antioxidant repairing damage from free radicals that can support your body's immune system, is a powerful anti-inflammatory in my case, right? With joints, it protects muscles, can speed up sports-related recovery, protective against metabolic condition, neurogenerative. I mean, we've got a sweet story that an amazing lady sent to us about her mother. 82-year-old Judy is sitting in a wheelchair. Mom, her daughter didn't know what to do. So she started her on molecular hydrogen therapy, drinking and inhaling. And within 17 days, her mother was able to pick up a fork again and start using it.
Oh my goodness.
Start talking more and get up out of her wheelchair and start walking. It's been proven in study after study, protective against cancer, organs, diabetes. I'm not making claims here. I'm telling you what the studies.
I've seen the research.
Studies show.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, even it's just
IBS.
Blood sugar, diabetes and fat loss indirectly as a result of balanced blood sugar, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way this seems to get the blood moving and get the healing element moving throughout the body is just uncanny. I've never seen anything like it in 22 years of researching natural health remedies. And it seems ultimately that it's presenting a new age in, how do you say it, biological optimization, anti-aging.
Good words.
and overall health. I just talked with a lady earlier today. She says, Craig, I don't know what's happening, but my joints feel like they're healing themselves. My skin is softer. I mean, all the stories I could tell you about what's happening to people's skin.
So, Craig, one of the things that I've looked up this in the past, and I've honestly, it would look to me at the time very cost prohibitive. What is it actually that we would need to do to get this into like our day-to-day life, for at least the average person?
No, that's a great question. You know, the Japanese researchers, they wanted to be able to build something that could go on everybody's counter about the size of a coffee maker. In the past, machines that were very complicated and did one thing, breathing or drinking, they were up in the upper $10,000 range. Like you said, very cost prohibitive. And most machines do one or the other. And again, they're very cost prohibitive. And then you've got to wonder about where they're made, what country they're made in, what parts they're made with, from which country, and the engineering. You know, there's a reason mine's like Toyota. You know, there's a reason why I've got a Toyota truck sitting in my driveway right now that's pushing 200,000 miles, and all I've replaced on it are the tires and a battery.
That's impressive.
I mean, right?
200,000.
Yeah, and so they've figured out through the engineering how to bring the key components down to a countertop device that allows you not only to drink all you want, pure infused water, your clean water, whatever that is, from a reverse osmosis to distilled to filtered tap water, whatever
coming out of your faucet, you mean?
Yeah, you want to use. All it puts into your clean water is pure hydrogen ions that then you can drink all you want, or with a different lid that comes with it and a cannula, a breathing cannula, it allows you to breathe it as well. And they do that all now, I don't know, for around $2,400.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up too, because I know that a lot of us obviously are very mindful of the toxins and stuff in our water supply. At this point, does these machines deal with that, like, you know, the fluoride, the chlorine, all the other things that are actually in our tap water? Or is this something that we have to get that cleaned out, then get it hydrated? You know, I was curious of the process.
No, that's a great question. And they wanted to focus on one thing with this machine, and not multiple things, because sometimes you try to do lots of things, you don't do anything, right? And so the engineers decided we are going to focus on delivering one thing into the customer's water, and that is pure hydrogen. We don't want to put any ozone in it. We don't want to put any chlorine. We don't want to change the pH. We don't want any leaching metals, anything to touch that water. We don't want to have anything to do with that. Only allowed through a proprietary patented membrane, pure hydrogen ions. So it's up to the customer to, I mean, whether they're going to use any type of a filtering device on their water. I know people do straight tap water. Tap water will allow the hydrogen to come into it. Some filter their tap water through a simple filter that they could get on Amazon, if that makes sense. It doesn't have to be something installed under your counter. It doesn't have to be an extra cost. It can be something really basic to filter your water. And then you pour your water into this pitcher and let it do its thing.
Oh, that's good to know. So those who have, say, water deliver, for example.
Correct.
They can still use the system.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
You use any clean water you want, because all they wanted to do was add the molecular hydrogen.
Can I ask you, what is the difference between now the fizzy tabs, if you will, of hydrogen, molecular hydrogen?
Yeah,
I know there's a difference.
Mm-hmm. You know, the fizzy tabs, and I'll never knock another brand, another machine. I'll just always question the engineering and the ingredients, right? I absolutely trust the engineering here. As far as it relates to the tabs, the one thing we believe with the Lord Hydrofix is we don't want anything happening inside your water from a chemical perspective, if that makes sense. We don't want a chemical reaction happening inside my glass that I have to wait, 10 minutes for, stir it up, because whatever I'm throwing in the water is what I'm going to be ingesting. And so the tabs might be creating hydrogen, molecular hydrogen. What I don't know is what else I'm going to get from the film or the residue or the ingredients with those tabs. And in addition, we had somebody run the math the other day to get the amount of tabs. You would have to do that 5 times a day with tabs to get the same therapeutic benefit. And over a year's time, you're into the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And that's just for one person. That's why I love what these engineers did in Japan. They made a machine that's all you can drink, all you can breathe for the whole family with one-time costs.
Fantastic.
Yeah, no, that was a great question, and because that was one of the questions I had as well. Because I didn't put two together because I always kind of had the idea that you're adding, which now I think is a stupid question. Now that I've explained it so well, Craig.
No,
Craig,
it's a great question because the option's out there, right? It's out in the marketplace, and then there's these little water bottle type little ones you see. But again, I have no idea what they're doing to the water, and the electrolysis process is happening right in the water with colloidal metals. They're plated metals. They're not pure metals. I don't know what's going in the water, whether it's chlorine, ozone, leached metals, lye. I mean, there are so many things. All I want is to put my clean water in for my family, my pets, my children, pregnant women. There have been known side effects, and you can't overdose on hydrogen.
Yeah, that's a really important point you mentioned earlier. Yeah. And I was going to ask you about pregnant women, but so is there anybody that's excluded from drinking molecular hydrogen water?
As far as I know, no.
That's great.
I can't make any claims. I mean, we always have to disclaim and say, talk with your physician. I talk with physicians almost every day now. And in fact, I had a call earlier with one, and they want to know because they keep hearing these stories. What is happening to people? I had a sweet lady call me the other day. We were just talking, and she said, Craig, I just got to tell you, I come from big pharma, 19 to 20 years. I understand the placebo effect. I've been drinking the hydrogen water. That's all. And I've been dealing with, as a female, for my entire adult life, IBS. And any of your listeners that deal with IBS, it's usually one way or the other, right? You can't go or you go too much. And she just said, Craig, for the first time in my life, my IBS is gone.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I know.
And
so into that story, like with even the IBS and all the other things that this actually helps us with, like how quickly do we start seeing results?
Yeah, for me, it was 2 weeks. For some people, literally, that are a little more sensitive, and depending on what they're dealing with, it's been days. I had a gentleman, his hands. I'll send you the pictures. I'm going to send them to you so you can see. I don't know how your viewers will see these, or if there's a way to post the pictures of his hands. A gentleman I know, it's his brother. So I talked with this gentleman. His brother, he gave him the hydrogen water, just had him start drinking it. That's all he did, drinking. He didn't even inhale it. We find when people inhale and drink together, it's really profound. But just from drinking, his hands, I can't explain them other than Frankenstein. I don't know how else to. I've never seen hands like it in my life. And within 3 weeks, his hands were almost smooth.
That's incredible.
And I'll send you the pictures because I just can't even explain it until you see it.
What is the impact of molecular hydrogen on obesity, for example?
Yeah, some really interesting studies came out of that as well. And because of its unique property with inflammation, it's been impacting cravings because you're not having some type of inflammatory response. And so it's been reducing cravings, and people are losing weight just from drinking hydrogen water because it's repairing, it's going in and grabbing all of these free radicals that the fat cells help and make us want to binge on fast foods. And all of a sudden, people are craving the water rather than craving their destructive snacks, I guess, if you want to say it that way.
That's a great swap.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if this is in your wheelhouse, but there's something that I've been diving into on the opposite end of the hydrogen. It's the other molecule that you were referencing, oxygen. Like, what's the difference between like hydrogen therapy and oxygen therapy? Because it's kind of
hyperbaric, you mean?
Well, yeah, that and this I bought the 1 Minute Cure book. I don't know if anyone has read that with the hydrogen peroxide stuff.
Yeah.
You know that that's what if that's not in your wheelhouse, we can skip that. But it's interesting concepts.
And I don't pretend to be a scientist or a doctor. I just am a researcher, much like you guys, right? You guys are experts in so many in so many fields. But because of hydrogen's unique nature, it's really interesting. If you go to a hospital and you have, the container of hydrogen, it's got a blue label on it. Oxygen has a red label. You expose something to oxygen, it dies. And you're saying, wait a minute, no, we need it to live. But just remember, the minute you open your bread, the minute you put in oxygen, you have to remove the oxygen. And then it'll stay stable. It's really an interesting dichotomy between oxygen and hydrogen. When you release both, hydrogen floats up, ascends, oxygen descends. We think of hydrogen as the life molecule, and oxygen, I know it sounds antithetical, but it's more the death molecule. In doing some more research, we looked at the globe, we looked at the universe, and do you realize that what makes up 75% of the stars, our universe, our life-giving sun, is hydrogen? And I'm just starting to think maybe life's leaving clues for us, that maybe we don't need less hydrogen, maybe we need more.
Yeah, I think
it's the sustainer of all life.
It's interesting because a lot of the claims like that you're making for molecular hydrogen is in it. This book is saying the exact same thing, but just in reference to oxygen, which I found fascinating.
It's interesting. We've all seen driving by some field, a rusty vehicle sitting out there, right? It's oxidizing because of oxygen. And if it's really interesting, you drop nails into water, just regular water, they're going to rust. You drop them in hydrogen water, they don't rust. It's really fascinating. And so in my brain, with H2, I don't rust. It improves my body's natural antioxidant system. I need more of it, not less.
And to that end, it also improves athletic performance, correct?
Yeah, lots of studies. People just recover faster because they don't have the inflammation. They don't have the inflammation after working out. And that's what I've experienced. I mean, if I could show you, if I could wiggle my fingers in front of the camera, I get giddy, and I feel like I have the joints of a 20-year-old.
That's amazing. That is so wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, it went from night to day just from drinking something sitting on my counter that I can drink all night, all day. I can't overdose.
How much do you drink a day?
I drink between 1.5 and 2 liters every single day.
That's great. And do you drink any other type of water?
The only water I drink is when I've gone to a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm not going to be, I mean, there's some folks that are on hydrogen. We even sell a bag so people can carry. It's a really unique uh, patented bag, 5-layer technology to hold the hydrogen in, because it is so small it can escape.
Yeah, that's right.
We've got bags that allow people to transport their hydrogen that will keep the water and hydrogen in there for a week. Otherwise, when you pour a glass, and we invite you to drink it, you know, quickly, because within about an hour, the hydrogen will have dissipated.
Yeah, that's what I remember about it, is that it needs to be consumed right away, relatively.
Yeah.
But I initially, long time ago, I was listening to a man, I forgot his name. He's the president of the Molecular Hydrogen
Tyler
Organization.
LeBaron.
Yeah,
Tyler LeBaron. He's a great friend. In fact, some of our owners were down meeting with him just the other day, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah. He was my first entree into this world.
Oh, yeah. He's fantastic. He's such an ambassador.
But back then he was talking about, you know, you can put it in your refrigerator for a while, but now people are more, you know, 10 to 15 minutes at the most. Is that correct?
Yeah. Like you said, within an hour, it will dissipate.
Okay.
And so I just go, and it's another reason, you know, that we got a lot of telecommuters. It's a great reason to get out of your chair, go pour a glass, then head back to and do your thing. You know, we've got people in the mornings breathing it first thing in the morning. And then when they're done breathing, 30, 60, 90 minutes, then they start pouring, you know, their glass. It just seems, Omar and Lori, that, you know, the ancient inhabitants of this planet, this beautiful planet we have, had it figured out, right? I mean, they were understanding nutrition. They understood water. I mean, they had the original fast food, right? They just picked it and ate it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything meant something. The color meant something. The smell meant something. The way it looked and held. I mean, you cut a carrot in half, and they look at it and went, that looks like an eye, you know, the pupil, the iris, the radiating lines.
The walnut looks like the brain.
The walnut looks like the brain. Exactly. The heart, it looks like a tomato. You cut it in half. There's 4 chambers, and maybe there's a design in all of it that, you know, I mean, our kids today think they're health nuts when it says 10% juice on their candy, and they think they're eating fruit, but they're really eating marketing called Fruit Loops, Apple Jack, Crunch Berries.
Or high fructose corn syrup, they think is healthy because of the name.
Maybe we just need to get back to the basics.
Agree.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, Craig, thanks so much for, you know, this is a new topic for our audiences. Out of we're over 150 shows right now. This is the first time we spoke about this. So I'm really excited to share this with the audience, but I do definitely want to share you more and your company. So I want to give you the opportunity to really just tell us where we can get more into this, potentially buy some of the products that you sell, even if you want to talk about a few products that you have that facilitate us getting more hydrogen in our system.
You got it. You know, I believe health is a habit, not an event, right? And so we're the account managers, and we make deposits or withdrawals. And we believe, I personally believe, separate from the company, that I have found the greatest deposit I've ever found in my life. And you can go to Holy Hydrogen, all one word, HOLY hydrogen.com. And you can learn all about it. There's a research click. There's a success story click. And if any of your listeners want a discount, they could use a code H2, just the capital H, the number 2, and then NOW in all caps. H2 now will get them $100 off the machine. We like to say this is not a cost. It's an investment. People either pay for health or they pay for sickness. But either way, I know it because I've lived it. You pay. And I would much rather pay for well-being and health. Again, holyhydrogen.com. Use the code H2 now in all caps. And we'd love to get your listeners a discount. And, you know, we've got some fantastic doctors, naturopaths, and even big fans. If you ever would like to talk to them and get a different perspective and a more scientific perspective. But for me, I'm just so excited. I finally found something that I can share with people that works.
So Craig, yeah, tell us a little bit more. I know that people sometimes get a little concerned about the pricing. I know that there's a payment plan and some awesome guarantees as well. So jump into that a little bit for us too.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we tried to make it accessible, just like the engineers in Japan. They wanted something that could sit on a counter, and for every person, they wanted this available to everyone for good reasons, like we've talked about. And at holyhydrogen.com, like I said, they can use the code, but we also have payment plans there, multiple ways to pay. The payment plans are there, and I just have to say, each machine comes with a certificate of authenticity, a certificate of testing. It's tested multiple times before it ever leaves Japan to come here to the US for shipping globally, and a warranty. And as far as I've been able to determine, there's not another machine on the planet that offers authenticity, a testing certificate, or a warranty. And we just absolutely stand behind the product. It's got to do what it's going to do, and we want it to last for years and years, obviously.
Well, we're excited that you are sharing it, because truly it is, like you said, the smallest molecule on Earth that can penetrate the cell membrane into the cell and really make beautiful changes in the body, as far as I'm concerned. So thank you for absolutely being here. I know we had to reschedule, but so happy you were able to make it.
Oh, you both have been a blessing. Thank you. And I hope we can stay in touch.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Greg. Take care. Have a great night.
Greg. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of This Podcast Burns Fat. We're so excited to have you as a listener, and we're hoping that you've really enjoyed the content as well. And if you did, please run over to iTunes and provide a rating and or review. It will go a long way in helping us continuously build our listenership up so that we can provide you with excellent content regarding fat loss, weight management, and just an overall healthy lifestyle. Thanks so much. Have a great night.